the most important question for a person to answer for him or herself is, do I want a divorce? But the next question, if they're in my office, they're certainly contemplating that first question. But the next question, which most people don't have the information about, is how do I do this? And it's important for them to understand process options in California. All of us have watched TV and movies, and we know the default of getting a divorce, which is court litigation, whether it's a trial or lots of hearings. And I call that the default because that's where you end up if you and your spouse don't agree to something different than that. And what's available in California is very exciting. We call it alternative dispute resolution processes. And there are mainly two. One, mediation, is when the parties hire a neutral, trained family law attorney in mediation to help you navigate the process, gather the information, talk about the yardstick of the law, and then talk about possible ways of resolving this piece. Sometimes people will have on their own a consulting attorney who is more aligned with their concerns to help them understand what they're getting into, what a court might do, how can I negotiate, so we strategize and brainstorm before the next mediation session. And ultimately, the agreement, if you're successful in mediation, would be reviewed with your consulting attorney. Very different role than a litigation attorney who's much more involved, much more. And then the other alternative process option is known as collaborative divorce or collaborative process. And that's when the parties make a commitment never to go to court, but to share all information so that everyone is on the same page in terms of understanding what they need to talk about. Because there are three buckets. There's the kid bucket we talked about a little bit. There's the stuff bucket, which is all your assets, all your debts. And then there's what we call bucket number 3, allocation of income bucket, also known as support. So in a collaborative divorce, you build a team. Each party has collaboratively trained attorney, and that's a uppercase C capitalized, not a lowercase c, because there's a lot of training involved. They each have a divorce coach to help them learn how to communicate through this process. Ultimately, that will be a reward down the road if you have children and need to co-parent. And they will also help with a parenting plan if you have children. That will ultimately be part of the agreement. They'll also be at these joint meetings to help you manage emotions, because collaborative is probably the only one that really allows for emotions to come into play. So the idea is the agreement at the end is the agreement of the parties, not thrust on them. And so it is more enduring of an agreement, and it maintains the integrity of the family.